Hey guys, Dan here. I hope you are doing really well. Please do subscribe wherever you're connecting with me from. Share on social media. I'd love to hear your feedback as well. Today I want to share with you something that I found so crucial, so life-giving and so important, and that is the Sabbath. And okay, cool, right, Sabbath is not cool. It doesn't sound cool. We live in a world where busyness is like a badge of honor. It's a symbol of status. And the idea of Sabbath maybe just seems a bit outdated. But I believe that Sabbath is necessary. When I reflect on how I'm living my life, I'm often drawn back to what does God say about how I live my life? Like if God has created humanity, if I am made in his image, and I believe that human beings have got such great value because they are made by God, if God has invented us and created us, then he's probably got the best ideas of how we should thrive in this life that he's given us. And we look back and we see in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the New Testament, this idea and principle of the Sabbath. You see it as held up as important. The Sabbath, a weekly day of rest and of worship. Who's got time for that, right? But actually, it's so important. I really do believe that we don't have time not to Sabbath. Looking around, we see that we are in a mental health crisis, that so many people are struggling, so many people are overwhelmed. We've got that pressure to always be connected, to be always watching something or listening to something or scrolling through something. We don't have that time of quiet, of peace. And saying I'm tired or I'm busy to the answer to how someone asks, how are you? That's probably the mantra of our generations, is that's how we're feeling. That's what's going on in our soul. But I've got to believe, and I do believe, that there is a better way for us to live. Maybe it's an ancient way. Maybe it's a Sabbath way of living. Maybe the Sabbath is still vital for flourishing in our lives. For our families, for our communities, for our churches, for our businesses. Maybe Sabbath is so important. And we're not going to see Sabbath we're not going to do it, are we? Unless we actually see it as important. We're not going to do it unless we see it as a real priority for us. Because we don't just do what we say we're going to do. We do what we actually believe is important. And God sees this as important, extremely important. In fact, we see in the Ten Commandments that he gave his people, the Israelites in the Old Testament, that they came out of 400 years of slavery, and God says there's a better way to live. Have the Sabbath to remind you that you're not a slave anymore. We see the command in the Ten Commandments to keep the Sabbath day holy. It's right next to the big ones like do not murder, do not lie, do not steal. We're probably, hopefully, not doing those things. But the one next to that is keep the Sabbath day holy. The Sabbath is serious business. And if God knows what we need, then we should pay attention to the Sabbath. And maybe you're a follower of Jesus and you're thinking, well, I don't need to keep the law. I'm not under that. I'm under grace. Absolutely. For followers of Jesus, we do not need to do anything to be saved. You don't need to be at some sort of religious or expert or anything like that to be saved. But actually, it's simply through faith in Jesus. That is 100% true. So we're not relying on keeping the law. We're not relying on keeping the Ten Commandments to make sure we get to heaven. No, absolutely not. But what we see in the Ten Commandments is actually God's heart and values for how we are to live. Just because we're under grace doesn't mean that we go around murdering or lying or stealing or committing adultery or any of that stuff. Yet we forget about the one about keeping the Sabbath day holy. See, in the Ten Commandments we see that what God values. He values purity. He values life. He values honor. He values truth. And so we see these reflected in the Ten Commandments. But is it possible that we're ignoring keeping the Sabbath? The Sabbath is not there to be a burden to us. It is there to be a gift to us. It's the Sabbath of a day of rest and worship is to restore our souls, our tired souls, to our tired bodies, to restore us, to refresh us, to heal us in that. Myself and my wife Emily, we've been learning to practice Sabbath since a few months before the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's been a day a week where we've rested, we've not been doing housework, we've not been doing our paid work, we've been taking a day to rest. And it's been so life-giving. I would say that it's sort of what's kept me going through the pandemic. And so I think it's been so crucial and vital and important that I would say that I'm not going to not Sabbath again. I'm going to keep on going as well. So hey, maybe you're convinced. Maybe you're like, yes, okay, let's Sabbath, let's try this out. It sounds good in theory, right? But how do we actually do that? So let me give you a few, maybe a bit of guidance, principles, or whatever. But let me just share a few thoughts to help you think through what a Sabbath day could look like. So make it a priority. Ask yourself, if this is going to be so important, if I want to value this, what's going to get in the way? Taking a day a week, 1 out of 7 days, is going to take preparation. A day of rest takes work. So if you're just using your day to catch up on chores, do food shopping, all that kind of stuff, then actually you're going to have to do those things at another part in the week. Another thing is, make it a priority. Make a plan. I'm a planner. I appreciate the boundaries of a plan. Sometimes I plan too much and become a procrastinator by planning, but there you go. I'm working on that. So for me, I find it really helpful to have a sense of direction when it comes to Sabbath, and so I'd maybe recommend breaking your Sabbath day into 3 parts: so morning, afternoon, and evening. And maybe you want to have an idea before you go into your day of rest and worship of what you want to do in each of those aspects. So for example, you could have one thing in each thing. So in the morning you could have brunch, afternoon you could go for a walk or take extra time to pray in the afternoon. On the evening you might want to watch a film and have a takeaway. I don't know, but maybe you just want to have kind of like 1 or 2 things in each of those blocks of your Sabbath day. Things that are life-giving, things that are you enjoy, that actually helps you feel closer to God in that as well. Just to put a pause on the rush and the busyness of life. So there you go. That's a few thoughts on how to spend Sabbath. Sabbath is rest and worship. Worship and rest. So we want to align how we spend our Sabbath by enjoying who God is, enjoying who God has placed around us, and enjoying what God has given us. He has blessed us amazingly. So maybe you want to go and take some time, go and look at the 10 Commandments. Check out the word count for each one, because it's quite surprising how much is given over to keeping the Sabbath day holy. And we can see in that the value that God places on the Sabbath. So what will you do that it will change in your thinking, in your practice, in your diary to help you Sabbath well? I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a comment, drop me a message, and I'll see you guys really soon.